Well, welcome everyone. I'm Ryan Murray, the Artistic Director of Music in the Mountains, and I'm so glad you've joined us tonight for this great concert with Imani Winds. We are thrilled to bring these concerts to our community and couldn't do it without all of your generous support. And I want to thank our season sponsors, Smarter Broadband Incorporated and B&C Ace Hardware. Thank you so much for being a part of Music in the Mountains and for keeping the music playing. I had the chance to hear Imani Winds over a year ago when they were touring California, and I was absolutely floored by their unbelievable musicianship, their ability to seamlessly move between genres, and the absolute joy that they bring to their performances. I'm so glad that you all get to experience that in tonight's virtual concert, and they'll start the program with Umoja, which means unity. Well, thank you, Monica and Toyin, for joining us today. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you. It's our pleasure.
Great to be here. Thanks for having us.
So, can you tell us a bit about Imani Winds, a little bit about the history of the group and kind of what you've been up to and that sort of thing?
Well, sure, absolutely. This is our 24th season as an ensemble. And that, in and of itself, to tell you the truth, sometimes just continues to boggle my mind a bit that for almost a quarter of a century, we have been doing what we've been doing. But it's been an incredible ride, and things continue to shift and change around us and even within the group. But we kind of just roll with the punches and still have joie de vivre and just this joy and desire to want to keep making this music. We want to keep making it with each other, even when personnel changes. We'll probably get into that a bit, but what you just saw was the original personnel of the ensemble, and we've had 2 changes since then. So even with that, though, it adds a level of excitement, because there's something new to look forward to. But yes, very quickly, some of the history of Imani Winds is that in 1997, our flutist that you saw in that first excerpt, in that first piece, Valerie Coleman, decided to kind of take control of her own narrative when it came to her career as a flutist here in New York City, just graduating from grad school. It was kind of tough, because you can get into the freelance community. You can start to think about teaching, maybe taking orchestral auditions, but she kind of wanted to take matters into her own hands, and had always envisioned herself as starting her own chamber music ensemble. So she actually had the idea for Imani Winds before she even had the members, believe it or not. Wow. Imani means faith in Swahili, as the word umoja, as you mentioned, Ryan, means unity. And so she went out on faith and contacted people of African American and Latino descent to put together purposefully an ensemble made up of musicians of color that would be a wind quintet. And it was her desire to see if our similar backgrounds may encourage the music to sound a particular way. But at its core, then and now, the excellence and the high level of just, we are always going after finding the best sound, creating the best experience, presenting the best music. So that was then and remains the case now. So lots of other details between 97 and 2021. But that's a quick overview. Valerie, she had this idea, kind of tracked us down, and we were off to the races.
Oh, that's really great. And I just remember just my jaw being on the floor your entire concert last year. I mean, as a bassoonist myself, I'm just in awe. But as a wind player, all these little subtleties that your group is able to do it's so difficult for us as wind players, and you just make it seem absolutely effortless. So we're all very impressed with that, for sure. So one of the things that I love about your group is that you also push the boundaries when it comes to music, and especially woodwind quintets. And so the next couple pieces are kind of boundary pushing pieces, and maybe you could tell us a little bit about what's coming up next on the program and how this Bach Coltrane concept came about, and then maybe the klezmer dances as well.
I'll take that one. So we have been together for 20 some years now, 23 years. And as time has gone on, there are only a certain amount of, you as a bassoonist know that there are only a certain amount of really great wind quintets that have been written. And the ones that are, the standout standard repertoire pieces are fantastic. But if you want to make your living as a full-time wind quintet, most likely you're going to have to branch out into something else and not just play those 4 or 5, maybe when you're being generous, 10 pieces.
That's quite generous, yeah.
Yeah. So we've had to commission quite a bit of work over the span of our trajectory. And we've done that through a project we've called the Legacy Commissioning Project, which we started when the group turned 10. And we decided to start commissioning works by musicians of color for wind quintet pieces, and also collaborative works too. And so we also are lucky enough that Valerie, you heard her composition in the beginning, but we have another composer in the ensemble by the name of Jeff Scott, who is, I think his star is still rising. Valerie's star has risen. I can't imagine how much further she should go, other than, the Philadelphia Orchestra, New York Philharmonic, and LA Philharmonic playing her music and commissioning her. But Jeff just got a commission from the Detroit Symphony to write a piece too. So he's out there, his star is rising beautifully too. So anyway, Jeff wrote us a piece around when we turned 18 or so. for so we were old enough to vote and go do. Imani Winds is old enough to join the military. And we decided to start making music that was more personal to us. And so he wrote this piece called, it's a concert length work called The Passion for Bach and Coltrane. And it was about the idea, it was based on some poetry that he had read about the idea if J.S. Bach and J. Coltrane met in heaven and what would happen if they were together and what if they made music together. So it features wind quintet, string quartet, jazz trio, and orator. And the orator is the poet who wrote the original poetry, and he's reading his poetry along with us. And the poet is my father.
Wow.
So talk about personal. This is as personal as it gets. So, we get to go on the road with Dad all the time. And, we were just talking about doing another road trip with this piece in Dartmouth. So, it's pretty cool when you get to make family music. But it's also beyond this piece, we're really excited about playing things that we're passionate about as musicians and as people. As a classical musician, sometimes you don't get the opportunity to make music that is personal all the time. Mm-hmm. Not that we don't all love Mozart to death, but it's just when it's so close to your heart that it's really an amazing opportunity. So that's the first thing you're going to hear a little bit of. And then the second thing, it comes out of this programming idea. You're done with your major work in a concert, in a recital, and you need something to close out the concert that makes the audience gasp, and fireworks are going off and everything, the bells are ringing, everything is, woo. So this last piece is a great ender piece. And one of the other things that Imani Winds really likes to do is play music from different cultures. And I think classical music, we kind of think of it as, European classical music, but even within European traditions, there's all sorts of stuff that gets left out of traditional classical music or being typecast, as it were, as traditional classical music. And klezmer music is one of those things that is often to the side. And so we brought it into the fold for a minute in the second piece. So that's one klezmer dance that we do at the end of our recitals. Gives the clarinetist a chance to really show off.
Nice. Well, we look forward to hearing them. All right. Amazing. Probably if we were live, we wouldn't have the clarinetist play both of those pieces back to back, huh?
Listen, we've done stranger things, I'll tell you.
We're hard on ourselves.
Right. Listen, well, I am loving your chat. That is just folks are really having fun in here.
Yeah, there's
Toyin,
great...
you have to click on the little bubble that's on your upper right-hand corner. So yeah, thank you guys for all of the love that's that you're giving us.
So up next we've got Rimsky-Korsakov Scheherazade, but probably not in a way anyone's ever heard it before. So the entire orchestra score condensed down for woodwind quintet. And I wonder if you can talk about the challenges of doing something like this, but maybe also kind of give us a clue into what rehearsals are like for your group and what you do to continually perform at this high level.
Yeah, I'll talk about the orchestral reduction. So just to give a little bit of backdrop, we didn't go into this kind of thinking we should do this sort of thing. One of the most famous pieces in the orchestral literature kind of fell into our laps many years ago, probably going on like 10 years ago now, I would say. And that was none other than The Rite of Spring. There was a reduction / arrangement done by a clarinetist and composer named Jonathan Russell, incredible clarinet player, bass clarinetist. And he was doing some sort of reduction for a project, I believe out in San Francisco, and just sent us the score. It was about a 12-minute version of just highlights. Clearly it's a 45-50-minute piece. So just very, very pared down, just a couple of the highlights, one of which, of course, the opening bassoon solo, and I think the end dance. And so we got he sent it to us and said, hey, I know you guys are who you are, and would you like to check this out? And we just kind of lost it. We turned into nerdy conservatory students all over again, and we're super excited about The Rite of Spring, and it's just we thought, oh, it's all there. Listen, you can really hear the harmonies, and it's just an amazing piece. Da, 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 da. Anyway, we got in touch with Jonathan, said it sounds great. How about adding about 12, 13 more minutes of music, like to make it a pretty substantial piece, about 20 minutes. Because we love what you have here, but for our program, we need more time. So he did that. And I remember so well, I worked really closely with him to decide which parts of the piece we would extract. And he thought, certain things won't work, like those sheets of metal or whatever they're doing back there in one of the adoration dance. I don't know. So certain things don't quite translate to the winds, but some of the more chamber music-esque parts of the piece do translate well to a small ensemble, because it's almost that anyway. So I just wanted to give you that backstory quickly, because it does relate to the Scheherazade really specifically. So we got this amazing reduction, and we've played it all over the world. We recorded it. It's one of our available EPs out there. And so that led to, what could we do next? What could we do, especially with Jonathan being such a crafty arranger and really having a very, very specific skill and ability, talent really at finding what you can pull from a massive piece into only 5 people. And so we thought of other pieces that we could have this same energy and this same kind of fun to it. And we kind of came up with Scheherazade. It has some of the biggest solos and excerpts for especially a bassoonist, but for all of us. And again, we are looking for pieces that have that inherent chamber music vibe to it, that if you extract it, you won't feel like you're missing anything. And so he, knocked another one out of the park. And so it's not the whole thing. It's not 45 minutes, but again, it's about a 22-minute reduction. But you find that I think people appreciate these pieces so much because a lot of people don't go to orchestra. Some of our concert goers may not have the experience in even classical music. And so we're able to introduce such an important and beautiful, relevant piece in the classical music canon to a completely different audience. And we've even heard, I've only heard the Rite of Spring from you guys. And I'm like, you should really hear the full thing. It's amazing. But for someone to say that is just incredible, to know that you've introduced a piece to them in that way is really, really cool. And so when it comes to rehearsals, I think our rehearsals are not unlike in any other sort of, I guess, professional ensemble, in that we try to maintain a really high level of excellence. We try to be respectful of everyone's opinion. We like to have a lot of fun. We have learned over the years, take your breaks, take the time, go get some lunch, come back. Don't be too hard on yourself, but be very keen on listening and just trying to find the most perfect moment. It's okay to be a perfectionist if you're in an environment that is filled with respect and love and admiration for one another. And when you have that as your baseline environment, then when you get little specific moments and you say, hey, Toyin, I think we need to really practice this moment because we're just not in tune, or I'm just not catching your cue, or can we try to find a better sound? When you're coming to a place like that where everyone is feeling like their opinion matters, then you can really dig deep and have a good time doing it. So our rehearsals can be really intense. They can be, but we know it's all about the craft and all about the music, and it's for that purpose, to find the best quality that we can find.
Nice.
Another thing we really like to do is try everyone's ideas. So might be a little different from an orchestra rehearsal. So whenever anybody comes with an idea, it's just our policy to try it, even if it sounds crazy to the rest of the ensemble mates. We do it, and sometimes some really great stuff happens from the craziest ideas. So we might not even do what was originally done, but somebody will hear something and say, maybe if we just modify that just a little bit, then innovation is born. Just like that.
Great. That's great. That's a great way to work. Absolutely. All right, everybody. Well, enjoy Scheherazade like you've never heard it before. mean, that is just really amazing. Just incredible.
Epic.
Epic is right, yeah. And there's such intensity, but you also create such a warm blended sound. It's just amazing. Amazing. I know we all enjoyed that. There were a lot of great comments as well.
What does wash hands mean?
So that's the clap symbol, but when it comes through to us, it shows as wash hands, but it means that it's the hands clapping. I just figured that out.
Hilarious.
After about 5 concerts. I was going, what does that stand for?
Well, I have to give a quick shout out to Tyler Kasho, who is definitely giving us a lot of love. So
Thanks, Tyler.
just pointing him out specifically. And also just going back further in the chat just a little bit, someone mentioned Dartmouth, when we'll be at Dartmouth, and that's going to be in the fall. Hopefully, that's the key right about now, that we've got a lot of concerts that are slated to occur. We think things are going to be back. We think that live performances in some capacity will occur, but particularly universities are the most skittish about proceeding. They've got the highest level of mandates they have to meet, et cetera, versus perhaps a chamber music society or stuff like that. So we really hope to be presenting back at Dartmouth in the fall. So just stay tuned to our website, which you put in the chat, Brian. So we appreciate that.
Great. So we talked a little bit about Jeff Scott already, but obviously incredibly talented and amazing composer and arranger and an amazing horn player. But maybe you can tell us a little bit about what it's like to have an arranger in your group. Does he bring things to the group, and then do you tweak them, and how does that process work? And then next up is Starting Something, and maybe you can tell us about that piece of Jeff's.
Right. Yeah, we definitely have some input since we have the composer in the group, literally listening to it being discovered by live performers. He writes everything on Sibelius, this computer program that composers are very familiar with. But to hear it, he's hearing it live for its very first iteration right there, and he's literally in it. And so he lets us make lots of comments and make lots of every little idea. It's just like any other piece we're playing. Any idea that comes forward, he's gracious enough to let us try. Not every composer's like that.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll let you try everything. But and especially when it's an arrangement of something and he's trying to go for a certain type of sound, Valerie would often bring in arrangements too, and we would work out how to make it the most effective together. So that was always really great. So Starting Something, actually.
I think I'll just add really quickly before Toyin introduces. I think Valerie and Jeff both love the fact that they have a lab band. They've got a laboratory right there in the likes of us, and both of them always would say that we were guinea pigs. We are guinea pigs for them, and you don't have that type of environment as much in a classical ensemble. In a jazz ensemble, people are always bringing in here's this tune, here's that tune, let's try that. But to have that chance to kind of be in the moment as soon as it's being played, I know they've always thought about that as a really cool feature. So just wanted to add that.
Right. Yeah. There were 2 questions in the chat that I don't want us to forget. One being, you can find the Scheherazade arrangement at Jonathan Russell's website. So if you Google Jonathan Russell Scheherazade, then you can get to his website, and it's for sale there. And yes, we do play in Northern California quite a bit, usually in the San Francisco area. But just last year, we were in the Sacramento area right before all of this went down. So we do get out to California at least once or twice a year. So just look to our website. Not now, because we still don't know when everything's going to happen and it's not posted yet. But come the end of the summer, hopefully we'll have stuff up on the website where you can see where we're going to play. Scheherazade was recorded this time for this performance at the Mannes School of Music's old campus. they don't even they're at a brand new campus on 13th Street now in Manhattan, but it was on 85th Street on the Upper West Side in this beautiful old building that apparently now is a independent school in the independent school system in New York City. So back to starting something. Oh, and I was gonna say something about. Oh yeah, I remember what it was. So having Jeff in the ensemble means that you can ask him to do certain things for your needs as a player. And I remember at a certain point we kept asking him, make it harder, make it harder, make everything hard. We got addicted to really challenging stuff, I think. And so this starting something is kind of the culmination of that wanting it to be harder and harder. So he would listen to us warm up and what we were capable of doing on our fingers. And he kind of wrote that into this piece. So he was starting some mess with us. That's where the piece comes from. But it's definitely based on in the jazz idiom a little bit. None of us are improvising, but he calls it a jazz shuffle, this piece. So it sounds a little like Keystone Cop music. It's got a lot of humor in it. And he wrote it for us so that it could be at the very first thing we play at the beginning of a concert. Valerie and Jeff often wrote to the needs of what we needed. If we needed a full-length work, then they would write a full-length work. If we needed something to start a concert, they wrote a starter. If we needed something at the end, they wrote us something to do at the beginning. No, just kidding. They wrote us something to do at the end. Terrible joke. It's late here on the East Coast. So anyway, so this piece is called Starting Something. And actually, I make terrible jokes any time of day. It's just the way. So they're jokes.
She's not wrong.
All right. Well, here we go with Starting Something. All right. Well, there certainly was a lot to play in there.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. So before we
No
come to
lack of
the
notes.
yeah, no lack of notes, exactly. Before we come to the final piece of the program, I just wanted to thank you both so much for joining us tonight, and thank you for sharing all this amazing music with our audience. It's been just a real treat to be here with you.
It's our pleasure too.
Likewise, likewise. Thank you.
And again, thank you all for joining us tonight. I hope you enjoyed the program as much as I did. And I want to thank again our season sponsors, Smarter Broadband Incorporated and B&C Ace Hardware, for making these concerts possible. And if you'd like to learn more about how you can support Music in the Mountains, please visit us at www.musicinthemountains.org. And finally, on Monday at 7 o'clock, I'm giving a lecture on music of Debussy and Ravel on Zoom, so I'd love to see you all there. And to end tonight's program, we have a special performance of the Pavane by Fauré. And this performance was done in what we might call a tiled performance or a distanced performance. And maybe you want to just talk a little bit about this final performance.
Well, sure. Of course, here we are in this season of COVID, and it looks like we are actually coming out on the other side of it, thankfully. And we were seeing so many other people back in the summer, last summer, do performances remote, do these virtual style performances, and we knew we needed to contribute to that, but we also just wanted to connect with one another. To be totally honest, it was very difficult. I mean, of course, all of this has been extremely difficult, but just kind of losing that connection with each other was particularly hard for us all. And so this was an opportunity for us to bring something to our virtual audiences that was in the moment, that was a reflection of what we're all going through, and with a particularly poignant piece, beautiful work by the Fauré's Pavane. So Jeff, our very own Jeff, yet again did this arrangement, and Mark, our clarinetist, is our resident tech guru. And so he was able to do all of the behind the scenes technical stuff to produce this performance.
Great. And I think, we've seen tonight just how music can help us feel connected and together, even though we're just reaching out through YouTube. And so it's been great to connect with you. It's been great to connect with our audience. And I'm really happy to leave us with this beautiful performance of the Pavane by Fauré. So thank you again, everyone, and see you again soon at Music in the Mountains.
Thank you. you.